Okay. So registration is on, and I can share my screen. Oh, wait, sorry, I must stop because I need some sound as well. This. So if you want to play something on YouTube and you are in Zoom, you must here click this button so that you have got. That won't work.
So you can share YouTube.
Yeah. That doesn't want here. Let's see. Normally,
you perhaps have to first open the browser and then share the browser where you choose.
yeah, that is in the slide as well. But normally, it's in the Zoom meeting. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, you should see the screen on. Huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, my subject is inventory in KOHA. That's what we are just busy or nearly ready with our inventory, because as you can see, all our books are out, and we thought it's just a good occasion, good option to look into the inventory. May I ask for the librarians, who did inventory already in their library?
But not with KOHA.
Not with KOHA. It's maybe something, oh my God, inventory. But it takes time also. Yeah. It takes time, yeah. But that's also a challenge we had when we started. It's very time consuming, but there are easier ways to do. And I would like to go with you through the steps on KOHA, and later on I have some prepared a paper for inventory in general, not only with KOHA, from a school librarian. Actually, I adapted some tips how to do and how to plan inventory. But first, let's have a look how you can do that in KOHA. So now I'm a bit lost here with my slide. Oh, okay. That's the first one, yeah. So on the start, how to start? You go on your start page and you see here tools. Click on tools, and then that window appears. So tools, and then choose inventory. So next step. There are actually two ways. The one way is working with a barcode file. That means you go to your shelf and take a scanner and use all the barcodes of you scan the barcodes of the books. And then you add them in a text file. One of the challenges we discovered is with KOHA, it doesn't work with Word documents. So use a normal TXT file or editor and just scan it.
Notepad or WordPad. The Notepad or WordPad.
The Notepad, yeah. but no Excel, or no Excel and no Word document. So and then you actually, that is the window that opens here on the right side when you click on inventory, and then you look for your file you scanned here, and you choose that one. Like that was that example, we scanned the barcodes for graphic novels. Of course, you can scan all the books all in one, but I would not recommend to scan the whole books of your library in one file. That takes your ages, and rather do section by section, and then you can do it over the year. You don't have to do everything all in one. Yeah. So, and yeah. So then you choose that one. So, and then you have some options here. The most important is that one here, that example, compare barcodes list with results. What happens there is they compare the barcodes you scanned on your file with the data that is in KOHA. Yeah. And then that one here on the right side on top, we have a closer look later, but underneath there is also an option, skip items on loan, which makes sense. The items that are on loan, they are not on the shelf. They are not, you cannot scan it if they are not there. Yeah. So you skip that one, and then you submit. Yeah, here you submit. Yeah. And as an example for what your result is here, you can see that, especially here on problems, there might be, they're still checked out because I did not click on that option. So they can also then show you it's still checked out. But you can say found on the wrong place, meaning there was a book in the section graphic novels which does not belong to graphic novels. Yeah. And of course, missing items. Scans, books, titles, examples, they are in KOHA, but not there where you scanned. So, of course, at the end, you must sort out here. That is just the result, but the inventory is not finished yet. Of course, then you must see when it's missing, what happens. It still can be, it may be borrowed out and it was not registered. It can be really missing, or it can be at another shelf, which you did not scan on that list. So there's still work to do after you scanned. But for those you found and KOHA compared it, gives you then here the message last seen. As you can see, that was yesterday. And of course, these are not there, missing. But for those books, they are really there. They will also give you in the system that you have seen them physically on that date. On that date, you did the inventory. Yeah. So now it's getting interesting because, yeah, you see. So now I would like to show a video again to explain you again. I must get out of. Let's see if it's working.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi, good morning, Kelly.
Good morning. Well, here's our another podcast with Kelly and Jesse today, and we are going to be doing the inventory tool today on our podcast.
Yeah, lots of changes in the past few releases. Some updates to make it a little smoother, and then some updates that have changed some behaviors in the inventory tool. So we've had quite a few questions from our partners, so this is a good one to cover.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I'm going to pop over to our tool section where our inventory is, Jessie.
Okay.
And then we're going to hit the inventory module. And so inventory module, we're actually going to use a barcode file to do our inventory. And this is with the understanding that we went into our stacks and we went ahead and scanned a section of our library and saved that as a barcode file.
Excellent. Always two ways to do it. So we'll start with the phase one.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and in this barcode file, I'm going to go ahead and choose a file. I'm going to grab this barcode TXT file. Now I have a few options. First, I can set my inventory date to whatever date that I decide, whether I'm going to say that's today, or if I scanned it yesterday, I could always do yesterday's date, whatever I'd like here. Excuse me.
And it will always populate today's date.
It will always put that date last seen as the date that we're setting this inventory date to. Our next option is we have compare barcode list to results. And we have found that this is really, really helpful is if you were to use a barcode file as well as work in conjunction to a list results. So if I choose this option, then I'm going to say that I went over to a specific section and scanned that section. In our case, we used the course reserve section. But I also want to see what else I have in my KOHA system that is in that section. So I want to take my barcode file and compare it to what KOHA has in my course reserves.
And this is definitely one of the bigger changes that you'll notice in the inventory tool. If you like to compare those lists, see if you scan something that was either missing and is now there or was lost and now found, you definitely want to select that checkbox.
Another big key part of this portion of the inventory is this next one. Do not check in items scanned during inventory. So even if I did this at 9 o'clock last night, this inventory, and then this morning I go ahead and do this, I still probably want to check this box to make sure nothing is checked in. Now, go ahead, Jessie.
I just want to say this again, this is another big change. So if you don't use that checkbox, so if you don't select that, the items get checked in, but there's no longer a pop-up or a notification letting you know that those items got checked in. In prior releases, we'd get that beautiful yellow box that said, these items have been checked in. So, that was kind of a reminder for staff to say, let me go check on that item, or let's say some fines were assessed because the item was still, checked out to the patron and now it's found and it was in fact in here. It was nice to get that warning. So that is one thing that you will not notice anymore.
Right.
If you don't check that box. So
So I am going to check the box so we can see if there are any things that are checked out that I had scanned but maybe got checked out after I did my little inventory. Okay, the next section we have is item location filters. And like I said, with this compare barcode list to results, I'm going to go ahead and choose a location. I'm going to choose a location of course reserves because I want to actually see again what did I not scan in this section. And then I'm going to go ahead. Now you also have, in addition to shelving location, if you wanted to do a call number range, so say you didn't get to do a whole section of a specific shelving location, but you did call number between 641.5 and 6.41.8, then you can go ahead and do that because we know we have big sections sometimes in those shelving locations. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, Jessie.
All right, excellent.
Okay, here we go. Perfect. So actually, we have our first one, planning and role setting for public libraries. it said that this was not scanned, so maybe it's missing in my inventory. So this is something I could go and look for, make a note in that KOHA and say that it's missing, because I know that I definitely didn't scan it. So I could actually do some proactive for looking for this title. And then my next title here, the Successful Library Trustee Handbook, is actually still checked out. So that did not get checked in when something did get checked out after I did my little inventory. So I made sure that that's still checked out to the correct person, and I have one item that's missing.
Excellent.
Yep. So that's a good way to do your inventory if you have that opportunity to go out and use a scanner and scan a specific section.
Excellent. Now, one other key change that was made, and this kind of goes along with those notifications. Lost statuses do get removed. So let's say we scanned something that was marked lost. What KOHA will do is it will update that item, but we no longer get that alert. Again, remember, we get that great yellow box similar to this, number of potential barcodes read, that would let us know that an item was updated, and now KOHA will just update that item. So those are two big changes that we have seen in the inventory tool.
But overall, it has great functionality. It certainly does what we need it to do. We just needed to be aware of a couple different modifications to this tool, but a great way to do some inventory.
I will say one thing I have noticed is there's definitely a lot less clicks that we have to do than from previous ones. So the process has definitely sped up.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, thanks so much, Jessie. This is awesome.
Okay, Kelly, I'll see you next week for our second session on inventory.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, have a great week, guys.
Okay, thanks, Kelly.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was the first part. We have another one, the second managed to do. I just want to add on that what we've seen. It also can happen that you scan some books that are not informed. Meaning they have a barcode, but you forgot to register, or they have been deleted by accident, whatever. And then they will give you on top of that list you saw at the end, they will give you the barcodes and then the message not scanned or not seen. I can't remember actually, but they give you a notice. So now, before I continue, I realized that I forgot to start the registration. How are we going to do that again? I forgot. Every time I forgot. Can we start now the registration? I mean, there we have a YouTube where you can look. So the information is not lost. You still have the URL from the YouTube. But I would like to start the recording.
But it's recording.
Is it? I can't see that here, but when you
Stop to next stop.
where is it?
Ah,
Yeah, fine. Okay, thank you. Okay, then we go to the next slide. Come on. Not here. Yeah. So the other option is now, if you do the inventory by section, you start also the same way, tools, and then you go to inventory. But then you look at this part here, as you have seen already here, that they choose some locations. But these locations you must have them already in KOHA. It's 12 o'clock now, or something here. So we have, let's say we have a connection like for the Namibia. or we have a collection, there's a location, our teachers' learning source in Ochibarongo, or in Chuma, or in Swakopmund. We have some small dependency. Let's see. And so for here, let's say in our library, you can select the Namibiana and scan all the books from the Namibiana. Yeah. Or because they have all the different dual numbers from A to Z. Yeah. Or you can here put in the call number. That's it. For us important is German literature. So if I put in here for the call numbers, the number 830, I will get all the titles, they are registered under 830. If they registered correctly. Yeah. So, and then, yeah, that's, here you have some more options that will be explained in the video. You can then, you can also check for items that are long outstanding, items that are missing, or items that are lost, items that are discarded, and so on. Okay, here we have a result. And now comparing to the first part, you can see on the side, there are some boxes you can tick. So these are actually the result of your inventory. And you see, missing. So now you can go with that list. You can go through and check again in the file. Maybe it's in a different section. Maybe it's just for display somewhere. Or it's on your colleague's desk on your own. Yeah? So it's not scanned. Or you have got like a special corner with some themes they're just dealing with, in that case, with German literature. They are not in the shelf, they are somewhere displayed. And if you find them, then you just click here on the box on the left side, and then they change them here, that last scene, then you can see that. What we use, for example, if you see this here last scene, 18th December 2017, that was the day we installed KOHA. So most probably these books have been missing already before we installed KOHA, because since then have never been used. There's a big chance that these books are really lost since 3 years already. No? I know some books, that one here, the Mittagsfrau, I remember that book, I discarded myself, and then somehow a mistake happened and it's in again. Yeah. Yeah, mistake happens. Oh yeah, very interesting is that option here I've got is before I submitted, I did not choose the option to print it in a Excel file. I just wanted to have it on my browser, and from there I just copy it and paste it in a Word document. And what the advantage is in the Word document, you can when you select the whole document, you can you can bring them in the order you want. Each column you can arrange like by title, you can arrange by last scene, you can arrange by the signature, or the call number, or the barcode. And that makes the work to work out this list very easy. So if you, for example, select used by signature or phone number, then you can go in the shelf again and look A, B, C, D, and you know where it should be, and double check if it's in the shelf or not. Okay, this second part, so here that we did not use the top with the scanned list. Yeah. Meaning that way you can also do it like the old school. You print it out, like I said, and you go with your hard copy into the shelf and just click it if it's there or not. So let's have a look at that video again. It's also about it's also about 7 minutes, something like that.
For our part 2 of our inventory module.
Yes, me too.
Great, great. So today we're actually going to do the other part of the inventory tool. And this way to do this inventory is you can grab a section of your library by using a shelving location and actually get a list of things that you should go look for. And then you can mark that you saw them, and the new updated date last seen will update to that date you're doing an inventory. So it's a little bit different than what we did last week, but another great way to do inventory.
This is a great example. We get a lot of feedback from libraries. You know, if you have student workers or volunteers or even library staff that have some time to go out, they have basically a shelf list that they can compare. What's on the shelf is actually what's the correct status in KOHA.
Yep, great. So here we go. We're going to choose that inventory tool in our tool section, catalog. And we're going to not use this barcode file like we did last week. We're going to start at this item location filter. So we're going to filter to a specific either shelving location and library, just a specific library, and maybe a call number range. So if you have a big shelving location like your stacks and you know you're never going to get through all of those, you can say you'd like a call number range to look at versus a big shelving location. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the juvenile board book section. And then we have these filters to use for comparing those barcodes.
Now, what the filters will do is they will just bring back those particular items. So if you just wanted to look at the long overdue lost or lost and paid for or missing statuses, or even items that were marked withdrawn or not for loan, whatever it may be, once you check those boxes, those will filter the results and just show you those items. So what we'll do first is we'll leave those boxes empty and we'll show you what the results come back like.
And then we'll do it again and just choose a box, and you can see the difference between the two results.
Perfect.
The next option is this last inventory date. So if you were in a project and you know this inventory is going to take a while, you can actually start a project and then restart it back up. So this will tell KOHA that skip any records you mark seen on or after this date. So if I did the inventory last Monday, I can say I actually don't want to see those that I've already marked seen as of January 2nd. Then we can go forward from there. So this is really useful when we know we have a big section and we don't want to keep looking at those same items.
Perfect.
And then we also can say, hey, I don't want to actually see anything that's checked out because it won't be on the shelf, hopefully. So you can use this skip items on loan to once again weed out items that you wouldn't find on your shelf.
Excellent.
Okay. And then we also, if we wanted to print this out, we can use this export to a CSV file. Instead of showing it on the screen, we're going to show you what it looks like on the screen, and then you can also print those screens if you wanted to instead of a CSV.
Excellent.
So here we go, Jesse. We're going to hit submit.
All right, let's look at our results.
Let's look.
Perfect. So now we see everything. We can see items that are on the shelf, items that are marked lost, and this is a good way to compare, especially if you're trying to see if, things were not checked in, maybe they came back or they were misshelved and now you're finally finding them. You'll notice on the left-hand side, you have a checkbox that allows you to mark things seen. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can take, either a laptop and a scanner, or even an iPad or an Android device out, pull the inventory tool up just as we showed you, and mark them there. Or another popular way to do it would be to just print this. And then you can take the physical print item and have your staff check those off. So either way works.
Yep. So here at the bottom, and you have, I have quite a few pages here, but here at the bottom of each page, you'll see these 3 buttons that you can mark seen and quit. So that you're going to, whatever items you've marked as seen, you can go ahead and do that and then quit the program. You can mark seen and continue to the next page, or you can continue without marking.
Perfect.
I also really like there's this search button. So you're always going to find things that are out of whack, maybe on your shelf. So you could go ahead and search a title up here. It will bring you that item, and then you can mark seen. So there's a couple different ways you can use this.
Again, if you're using a Windows machine, you'll want to hit the Control P. If you're using a Mac, you can hit Command P, and that will print out that page for you without the menu on the left-hand side or the search box up top. So it'll give your staff a nice, clean look at that table that they can take out to the shelves.
Great. Thanks, Jessie.
Yep.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our inventory. Popped over there, my mouse goes weird. Go back to the inventory. We can use that breadcrumb up here or the inventory on the left. And we're going to do the same filter. We're going to say juvenile board books, but how about we look at just what's in the lost status? So I'm going to click all these, and I actually want to just see anything that's either marked long overdue, lost, lost and paid for, missing. This is going to be fun. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. So this is another project I can just see having fun. You just go ahead and let's run everything that's missing in a certain section and go look for it through the library, a little scavenger hunt.
I love it. I love it.
So it does say that there are 12 items in my juvenile board book section that are in that lost status of lost, long overdue lost, missing, lost and paid for. So you can actually see any of those, and then you can go from there. You can either, you still have those same options, but you also can go right to that title and decide what to do with those books.
Perfect.
Perfect. Well, I think that we answered a lot of questions today, Jessie. I think this is going to help people do some fun winter projects.
Exactly. There's 2 different ways you can do this inventory tool. We showed you lots of options while you're in there. If you have any questions, take a look at our blog post. We'll document these step-by-step instructions. We'll also include the bugs, which have and enhancements that have changed the inventory module. And if there's any that you want to track, you can go ahead and follow those. So thanks again, Kelly.
Thank you. Have a great day, Jessie.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So you see, it's not that easy, but like I said, the work is not done when you're done with KOHA. You have to work out the results. And therefore, I prepared the paper from an old, or not that old, very experienced, I'd rather say, school librarian from Texas. She has a very interesting blog with a lot of tips, practical tips, and I adapted that a little bit. And I have got 10 copies. She's talking about like why do library do inventory, and of course you want to see really what is in your library. It's always frustrating if the people look in the OPAC system. You have that book and you go to the shelf, oh, it's not there. Wait, sorry, I can't find it. It's very embarrassing. Yes. Does that happen to you? Yes. To everybody. And secondly, you can also then look for errors in your catalog, for that labeling errors. That I'm sure that happened in every inventory, that you get the wrong signature, the wrong label, maybe even by mistyping, not voluntarily, you just press the wrong button. and you've got another number or another letter. And then it's not on the shelf where it's supposed to be. And also, of course, like I said already, you can identify the books there on the shelf, but not in the system. And so you have always a clean a clean setup of your library. That what is physically there is also in the system. And then that lady talks about when to do a library inventory. So it's not for us. It was quite clear. We said all the books have to go out. We do the library inventory all in one. But actually, to be honest, I not recommend to do the whole library all in one. Rather do it in sections and start with a small one section so that you still can get used to it, how to organize your inventory. Don't start with the biggest one. Start with the small one, and you can see, oh yeah, small adjustment that helps you to run your inventory smooth. And yeah, and so yeah, like I said, there are two options. You can run it by barcodes or by section. When you do by section, then yeah, you. No, I prefer by section. That's what I wanted to say. But there's one thing in KOHA, at least like it's the normal standard setup is, you can't do the inventory by item type. So if you want to scan, let's say all DVDs, there is no option in the standard setup to scan all your DVDs in the list. As you can see, they have categories, but not item type. So, like now we scanned all the, let's say, all the audiobooks, but now the audiobooks they're under 830, they're under youth literature, there's some non-fiction. That's a bit complicated because the setup does not allow to scan by item type. So when you must choose when you would like to scan like all 800s or 810, 820, you must think, where are your 810 and 20? Are they in that bookshelf with fiction, but are they also somewhere else? Yeah. So planning your inventory is also very important, so that the inventory doesn't get so time consuming. And so rather do that lady calls a mini inventory, yeah, by sections or by signature. And she gives in the letter, she explains a little bit more steps in details. And at the end, when everything is done, also the post inventory task you should do. And the last one, you should not forget to report the result of your inventory to your supervisor or to your superior, so that he is informed what you're doing, how the library looks like, and also, do you need new material? Do you have to replace? What do you have to replace? You have to prove of what budget do you need, and all this kind of stuff, which sometimes easy things might forget. Okay, that's from my part. I have only 10 copies so far. So, but you can have more later on, but here at the moment I only have 10. 10 pages, yes. pages. One page that got lost. There is one. Is there a single picture page? Yeah, that's for you. So for those that didn't get a hard copy now, I still can give you one at the end.
Yes, and also we did a link to the blog site of the teacher librarian.
You can have that also. I can send you the. Isn't it at the end? Yeah, the link is there. The link is there. But I can send you that as well. And maybe I can also ask those they presented already and Joel, if we can share your slides for those they want. So, but please send me an email. Also, the people from outside, send me an email. I can send the paper, the hard copy, and the slides. Yeah. Okay, that's it for my part. And I give the floor to Joel. Yeah, come a bit closer to the mic. On.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what I will do is I will just introduce my colleague. We work on the presentation together, and she will just take us through the presentation. So, her name is Ms. Victoria. She is from the IT department, and we work together on our library at NAMCOL. So, please, Victoria, let's sit down and listen to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kavetuna.
Can you share
Yeah.
the screen?
Oh, I didn't connect.
So how do you would like the presentation straight on from our server or from your laptop?
From my laptop will be fine. If I can.
Then you must look at share.
Yeah, I have to connect to the meeting first because I didn't zoom in yet.
Oh, once I give you the user ID.
Yeah. Rasta, do you know my mouse there?
I think it's in your email. You just put it. Oh, okay, I could hear the app. Maybe I just put it.
In the name of Travis, maybe I can ask for your signature at the attendance list. Are you fine that I sent you the invitation for our newsletter? No?
Yes.
Yeah. And while you are busy, maybe I can quickly talk about the one event that we have, the reading competition, like our detective story. I don't know, we can see it now. Yeah. Detective competition. You will find it on our website and on the newsletter. It works like that. See, there is a story. And then at the end they ask, why is Lily so sure that lightning couldn't hit the police station? And then you can find out here why the answer to the question, or take it with another example. And so here they ask, what proved David that the letter of the approval was fake? The letter of the approval, and you can see there is a coat of arms, which actually doesn't correspond to that one. You see, so they must find the clue, and at the end, the last page, they must then send the solution of the last page.
Let me get.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
yeah, but I would like to enter both.
Okay.
Are you in?
I'm connecting.
So if they found the last clue and send it in, they can win a book signed by the author of this book. Where is it? Get a clue. The German author. Yeah. There's a lot of stories like that. He published a series of books like that. Yeah. Okay. Are you, Vicky? Are you ready? Also? Yeah. Okay. Then we can go on. Yeah. It's your floor.
Thank you. Afternoon, colleagues. As introduced already, I'm Victoria Shakela. I'm a network administrator, so most of the things I'm going to talk about is more on IT. I'm not really a librarian, so I'm not going to talk how to circulation, cataloging, and so on. So our presentation is titled NAMCOL Experience for KOHA. So currently at NAMCOL, we have installed or implemented KOHA, it's our library management system. So the presentation outline is as follows. So I'm going to introduce to you first what is NAMCOL, just in brief for those that might not know what NAMCOL is or what is NAMCOL. Then we are going to talk about how did we how did we end up choosing KOHA as our preferred library management system, or what did we experience that leads us to introduce or to think about implementing a library management system. I'm going to talk on the IT environment in which our KOHA is running on, and then okay, on staff client part, and then on OPEC, even though the previous presenters have gone into details on how the two or how the two work together, like OPEC being the gateway to KOHA, and the staff client being the administrative interface of the KOHA library. And then I'm going to also talk to you on challenges we have experienced when we were implementing the system, and then the way forward, or you guys maybe can come there to help us how to address our challenges that we have experienced. So NAMCOL, so we are a state-supported enterprises, so we fall under what we call state-owned enterprises. So we were formed by an act of parliament, and we offer our programs through mostly through open and distance learning. So we are more on distance education mode of study. And then we have 4 resource centers countrywide. We have one here, which is the main campus in Bendu, and then we have our 3 regional campuses, Chivarongo, Rundu, and Ogajiva. So we have resource centers at all those campuses. So our journey to KOHA started as you can see see it has become obsolete to manage a library through manual methods of, using those manual methods. So,
Card systems.
yeah, card systems, using maybe drawers and whatsoever to mark where your books are and so on. So we have now started researching or exploring like on available library management systems to like determine the suitable for us, and then to also look into what is cost effective. As we said, we are like a state supported, so the budget also played a role in determining what to implement. And then we have now benchmarked with other academic institutions to see what are they using in terms of their library management, such as UNAM, NAST, and then where we are currently, which is Goethe, or yeah. So those are the 3 main institutions that we have looked at what are they currently using. And then we have also looked on what are people online saying about different library management systems to be able to choose what is right for NAMCOL. So, and then when we did all those now steps, we have established like KOHA was the preferred library management system. So that's how we come about implementing KOHA. So this is just like a brief introduction on KOHA and then its main features. So mark-based cataloging, customizable OPEC, the cataloging, acquisition, and circulation. I'm not going to go into detail of those features. As I've said, I'm not really the expert in library because I'm not a librarian. So at NAMCOL, our KOHA, let me say, everywhere where we have seen KOHA being implemented, it's on Linux operating system. So Windows operating systems are not really preferred when it comes to KOHA, or most people prefer to implement it on Linux. So currently it's running on Ubuntu 18.04 version. We have it on a virtualized environment. We are using VMware. So we have implemented it on a hyper-converged storage area network. Part of such that decision, or what influenced that, is to like for failover or to have high availability of the service. So this means like if the physical server goes down, so it fails over to another environment. So it's just to prevent or reduce downtime to the service. And then the server where it's running, it's allocated 8 gig memory and 500 gig storage. And currently currently it's performing well on that environment. Okay, I'm going to just show you quickly like our staff client of KOHA, which as I have said, is the administrative interface of KOHA. So if I go here. So on our KOHA, we have created libraries for all our 4 campuses. So every library is having, every physical resource center is having its own library on the system.
Can you share your browser with us?
Huh?
Did you log into it on the browser?
Yeah, this is a browser.
Can you share the browser with us so we check how it looks?
So you want to log into? Okay. I'll paste it on the chat. Yeah, this now the staff interface, I have opened it from outside just for today, but then normally the staff client, it's only when I need it or I access it myself, but only the OPEC is accessible. But for now, you can, yeah, just for the sake of today.
But we can have a look at the OPEC. No?
Yeah, you can just to see your customization.
Mm.
What is the OPEC?
OPEC, I'll post OPEC now. The one I posted first is the one where I will be currently logging. And I will post OPEC coming up. Did you get it?
Is the OPEC linked to your website?
Yeah, currently we are developing our website, so we will, yeah, it's normally there, but then our website is under renovation. Yeah, yeah, but then you can check in the chat section.
That's yours, no?
Yeah, that's mine.
Looks more or less similar to ours, no?
Mm. Currently, we are running the latest version. Is it 20.05 is the latest version? Yeah. So what currently what we have customized on OPEC are those 4 main OPEC blocks. We have like the, let me go to home. I was practicing on mine when you were showing. So on home, when a user comes here, they can decide on which library. If they are, for instance, in Goethe-Institut, then they can go into Goethe-Institut library. If they are at Central region, then they can go into Central region. So this is currently what we have customized so far on our OPEC page.
Change that in last time,
So as Mr. Bravismo was presenting, so some of now the system preferences have moved to the news block. So just for those that are maybe going to implement, but when I was implementing, because we have implemented it this year from April to May. So we're still using the old system preferences. So, and then when I went back these days, I was looking for my settings under OPEC, and then I was like, oh, what's happening? I remembered, yeah, it's the upgrade that actually moved the things. I was even almost, I rolled back to my backup because I was like, I can't find some of my things. Luckily, but then the new, it's more, it's very easy now with the new.
They even removed OPEC header.
Yeah, they have moved OPEC header. If you go here now under tools, you will find those ones under news.
Yeah.
So the OPEC header, the OPEC credits, which is the footer, OPEC main user block, which is like the main body of OPEC. So if you want to customize those ones, you can come here now. So if I can go back to my presentation just to round up or to continue. Yeah, we have customizing OPEC. So currently, those are the 3, actually 4, because we have also OPEC main user block. Those are the 4 that we have managed to customize or to play around with. And then that is our library URL, which is like a public URL. So, and then now let me go to the challenges we have experienced. It's said
Go and check.
chat.
No, I'm not logging, otherwise it will interfere with the same account.
Oh, I see.
I just see that I'm not.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So there was a bit of a challenge with customizing or giving your our OPEC the identity to really belongs to NAMCOL because of the CSS expertise. So that is part of what we have experienced problems with. So really quite, because you need to have a bit more knowledge on CSS. And then one challenge we are now experiencing with students is internet access, because we are this open distance learning. So our students are wherever they are in the country. So when they are not on campus now, they have a problem to access the e-resources on our library. So, and then on the side of the librarians, they are experiencing challenging with copy cataloging and importing and exporting files. Yeah. Okay, we have come up with some like 3 points on like the way forward to like organize like maybe like a workshop where like those that are like expertise in CSS will come, and then we like maybe like a morning session, like let me say 2 to 3 hours, just looking into or learning from each other on how on CSS, because with OPEC, otherwise it's not going to have that feel appealing to your users, or your users are not quite going to like, you will have the system, but it's not being used because the look is chasing away your users.
Yes,
So it needs, it needs graphics. So, and then maybe on the, I don't know if you guys are also experiencing it with your users in terms of like internet connectivity around the country, what we can maybe arrange with internet service providers so that they say a method where if like a user is accessing, let me say, a library site, then they wouldn't need data just to promote the usage of e-libraries within our communities.
It's happening now. Yeah.
I'm not sure in Namibia if they are allowed.
Yes. Telecom.
Telecom.
I know for some sites for you now. They don't.
On campus, I mean, it's very but off campus now. We are not so sure.
No, wherever.
Okay.
They are not charging for that.
Yes.
Telecom.
Just a little, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure about MCC.
Yeah, and then lastly, that to have a practical refreshers workshop on copy cataloging, importing and exporting files. And I thank you for your time and attention.
I just don't understand the problem on copy cataloging. What is the issue really?
So the thing at NAMCOL what happens is that we normally have a lot of learners on internship. So you normally don't have so much time really to assist them. Actually the experience in the past was that maybe the issue of skills, as you like to put it that. And I know that here, for example, link our students with you and try to help them how to perform.
especially the Z3950. The when it comes to the configuration, increasing those the main data.
But what I can also say about especially the problem that we had in the past with Z39 is mostly when the ports are closed on the firewall.
Yeah.
Then the catalogers will not be able to fetch more catalogs.
Yeah.
But what we did now is with the IT, our host, the remote host, and the port numbers, then they can add the port and then we do an individual on a case by case basis.
As I tried linking UNAM to it before, but then from the website there, I took your information from it. So it's restricted access.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's firewall.
Firewall. The phone number and the
So basically, they cannot, from that point onwards, they can do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And so, colleagues, it's open for you to feel free. That's the NAMCOL presentation. You feel free to add and or to whatever comes in your mind. And that is our experience that we share. Yes.
When did you start actually implementing?
That's in March,
Yeah, March.
to implement. Yeah, first year, yeah.
But you didn't start in March, but already last time you had, yeah, but it was not.
It was not on like production.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just as just preparing and getting skills
Yes.
on how to.
And how long was the process from the first step from the decision you put your system in KOHA till online? How long did it take?
Like fully migrate from the manual system to the KOHA.
Before you only had manual.
Yeah, we have
Cards. Yeah, no barcodes, nothing.
No barcodes.
Okay. So that took how long again?
So that takes about
The good thing was that you see the manual catalog we have, we already put it in the Excel.
Excel.
So it was very easy to
like just
Yeah.
export at once.
This is
exactly to yeah.
okay.
I think the most time we spent was more on putting things in place,
Yeah.
making sure that when we cross, we don't want to experience more on like the data doesn't correspond and so on.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe there is a reason why you're asking the question. When you
The reason for those, they are just, when I think about NAMCOL, they are just at the beginning to see how long it would take, what step must be done, or how can they prepare only now, already, even before start with first installation, and so on. What can they do now, and how long will it take? Like you suggest to put it in already in Excel or with the app. That because the app you can also transfer it the app actually. I wanted to show you. I don't know if I've got it on my screen. It's called My Library. No, I don't have it on that one. I have it on my tablet. That is it's a very easy app called My Library, and it works just with a scan. You scan the barcode of the ISBN number, and the main issues, the title, and so on, and the author pops up already. It doesn't replace KOHA because you don't have lending and so on, but to start to register like books, if you have got a box like books, to put them into digital, it's very easy. So My Library, the app, can help you. Even for stuff you don't want to have in KOHA, like reference or we have got a section with discarded DVDs, which we can't allow to borrow for the public. But let's say during our German lessons, you want to show a sequence, you can still have it. So can't be in the system because the license expired, but in a closed room you still can use it. Yeah. So for example, that I have that on the app.
This app is on Google Play.
Pardon?
It's on App Store. Right?
It's on App Store, yeah.
And actually for the new, those who are starting up new, there's a lot of work to do. And, like for example, you need the server. So those basic things must be in place before you operate.
Yeah.
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 So maybe it would be good to share with our colleagues. It's not just you get a booth and then it goes. There's a lot of work to be done. And I think we are willing to really share the little we know. And also our experts, more, they can complement our efforts so that we can then help others that are coming in and then we can move forward.
Yeah, okay, so we are nearly at the end of our workshop today. Let's see, I couldn't do the check. Okay, Maria is going to pick up the children. Okay. For next year, the Goethe-Institut plans again to have at least 3 workshops throughout the year. And I think it's a good idea to continue also with Zoom parallel, physically and digital, so that we can record it as well, and to have a look again for the presentations. So I just remember, if you want to have the records, I hope it was working, the registration date, the recording, then I can send you the link and also the slides, or Penda actually, which helps me a lot with that. And then I would like to inform you about our next event, which is on the 14th. Maybe we can go on our website. Can you maybe do that go to our website while I'm explaining it? Our events. In the library, the next library event is virtually yours. I explained in a small group already that it's a virtual gathering for African literature, contemporary literature, and it's a Zoom meeting for 1 hour. The next guest, no, that shouldn't be, no.
It's not the one.
Not that one. Let's take the
Just
normal
cancel
one.
this one.
Or
Explorer.
go there. Yeah. Oh, it's Citrix now. I don't know if that is working. Now, yeah, if you go to our website, Goethe.de/Windhoek or Namibia, you will find on our website under cultural events the event for that meeting on the 14th of November, at the Saturday, from 3 to 4. You are welcome. The people there enrolled for this event, and they are at the virtual meeting. They can also win a book from the author. The name is a bit complicated for me. I haven't got in mind. And in December, the 5th of December, we have our last virtual youth meeting with Tega Huchu, a famous author from Zimbabwe. He wrote the book, The Hairdresser of Harare. And yeah, have a look at the other events. the one event I introduced already, the children's competition. And yeah, then I think that's all from my side. And I think it's time to close the recording. And can we just close the record? Or did you close already? Close the. But you close already.
It's too nice.
Huh?
Was just in the
Very good. Right answer.
No, sorry. So, and now I close the recording.